Welcome everyone to another episode of Web3 Masterminds. This time I represent For Protocol, and our guest today is from Ambire. Hello, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi, thank you for having me. My name is Vanina Ivanova, and I'm the Chief Marketing Officer of Ambire Wallet, but I like to, Ambire, the company that makes Ambire Wallet and Ambire Addicts. So I usually like to introduce myself as the person with the Twitter password, as a running joke that we have. Because everyone seems to be taking themselves too seriously, and I'm not saying that what we do is not important. It is incredibly important, but sometimes we should just be a little bit more, I don't know, ironic towards ourselves. So yeah, I'm the person with the Twitter password for Ambire. What we do at Ambire is we build amazing blockchain products. We have a blockchain based, and then in December last year we launched Ambire Wallet, which is a new generation smart cryptocurrency wallet. That is, I mean, I'm very biased, but if you're asking me, that's the next best thing after sliced bread to think so as well.
Can you hear me?
Yes. I think there's a very big lag in the connection, but we can work around it.
Okay, let's see if it improves. Okay. So thank you. Tell us a little bit about the vision behind it. What drove you to work with wallets, and what drove you to create Ambire specifically?
Well, this seems to be a recurring pattern with our company and our team. But we usually spot a problem, and then we try to find a suitable solution, because why should we invent the wheel when it's already been invented? And if there is no wheel available on the market, we sit down and we create it. That's how we started out in blockchain and crypto in general, and that's how we moved on to wallets. We were using a lot of wallets. We were using a lot of crypto in our everyday life, both as personal, for personal use, and as a company. And at a certain point, it's just bad. It is terrible. It doesn't let us onboard friends and family, for example, because it's so complicated that it takes us hours of explanations, and then we need to gas limits and block sizes and stuff like that. And to somebody who is completely new to crypto, to somebody who is just trying to leap in, and even to somebody who has been in crypto, that's a lot. It is a very steep learning curve. So when you try to tell people that they need to learn all these things in order to be able to use crypto efficiently and safely, it's very off-putting. And to a lot of people, that just seems like unnecessary hassle. And they just go, you know what, I'm just going to stick to my Revolut or my Venmo or whatever traditional fintech tool that they're using. So that's why we sat down and we identified what are the biggest UX problems in crypto. And we decided that we are confident in our skills enough to create a wallet that is actually better, a wallet that actually solves these issues, a wallet that is actually usable by anyone, whether they're just getting started with crypto or they're a whale and they're holding bajillions of dollars worth of digital assets. So so that's how we created Ambire Wallet. This is our origin story. We just saw that the market didn't offer us what we needed, and we created it.
Okay, amazing. And I think there's a common ground with For Protocol there, because to tell you a little bit about For Protocol as well, we are very adoption focused. That is the main reason that we exist, really. What we're making is pretty much what WordPress did for Web 2. We're doing it for Web 3. We're making toolkits that can help anyone from any niche or any professional or personal background just get on the blockchain very easily using our factory, which are just smart contracts that can be customized by anyone just by clicking a few boxes, and they can try, they can deploy, and then they can go back and see what they like, what they don't like, and just fix it. And of course, it is open source so that anyone has access to it. So our main focus is just to break down those barriers to blockchain adoption, to trying and getting everyone who wants to on blockchain, because right now we have this amazing technology, and yet people at most have heard of Bitcoin. They have no idea whatsoever how to use it, or even if they can use it, they believe that it's something very far away, something that it's very tech savvy. So anyone who doesn't have an extensive technical background is automatically excluded. So that's what we're trying to avoid here. So I think we have a very common goal here, and I'm very excited to explore this. So let me ask you this.
Absolutely, I think that.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I interrupted you.
No.
I was going to say that we have already reached a point where crypto can't be so elitist anymore. It has to go egalitarian. It has to go mainstream, and we're the people who can democratize that.
Okay, I totally agree. So let me ask you this: what sets Ambire Wallet apart from the rest of the wallets out there?
That's actually an amazing question, because before Ambire, our observation and our research showed that there were three main categories of wallets, so to say, on the market. The first category were the so-called, we call them internally UX focused wallets. These are wallets like Argent, and they're usually mobile based because mobile first, and they focus too much on the UX, but not so much on security or perhaps the cross-chain implications of blockchain, or little details like that. Then you have the key management wallets like, I don't know, MetaMask, for example, that are focused on security, but they really do not care a lot about UX and simplifying things and making the user journey smooth. And the third category is basically dashboards like Zapper, for example. So Ambire is the first wallet that combines all three. We are the first wallet that is, first of all, a smart wallet. Second of all, we're focused on UX. Third of all, we're focused on security. And we have clear dashboards that can show a user the full picture of their crypto transactions. So I think that this is the thing that sets us apart from the competition, and the fact that we, Ambire is coming from a team that is very, first of all, very ambitious, and second of all, very qualified, if I may say so myself. We have so many amazing things planned for the future of Ambire that I think we have the capabilities of becoming a #1 crypto wallet that anyone can use. And if you want, we can talk about like different features and different outstanding UX details a little bit more. I don't know, I just don't want to be shameless in plugging
Sure,
Ambire.
No, I really do want to hear all about it. But first, I want to piggyback off a word you said, security. And that's a very big issue with some breaches that have happened in the past with some wallets, some blockchains, etc. So that's a very touchy subject, I think, when we talk about crypto. So I would really like to hear what Ambire does to provide that sense of security.
Well, for starters, we try to provide the actual security, not just the sense of it. Though many security focused features of many different apps, not just Web3, but like traditional web apps, as you said, mostly give the sense of security, but not the actual security. Um, we have been getting this question a lot, and this is something that people wonder a lot, simply because it's a complex technological thing that is not really widespread in Web3, and that's why most users don't quite understand it. But Ambire Wallet is a non-custodial wallet on one hand, and then it allows email and password registration on the other hand. So a lot of people wonder, how is this possible? Like, how can a wallet be non-custodial when it accepts email and password registrations? And the way it works is it's basically a 2 out of 2 multi-signature wallet that has a time lock feature, meaning that in case the wallet is compromised, in case for some reason one of the 2 keys is compromised, a time lock kicks in to prevent any transactions of being executed until the actual wallet owner can get involved and cancel the fraudulent transactions in case there are such. So this is the way that it works, and basically one of the key is in browser, and it's password encrypted. The other key is on a hardware security module on our backend. And in order to do anything meaningful with a wallet, other than, I don't know, perhaps see a balance, which you can see on Etherscan anyway, but if you want to actually make a transaction, you need 2 out of 2 in order to execute the transaction. And that is what allows us to have both a very secure crypto wallet and allow users to sign up in seconds with their email. And then on top of that, Ambire supports hardware wallets, which means that you can add a Trezor or Ledger as a second step of security, second layer of security, and have your Trezor or Ledger device as a signer for your transactions. Or if you don't own a hardware wallet, you can also add a browser-based wallet or an extension like MetaMask to act as a signer as well. So you can have, I think, the best of both worlds in a way. You have security on the one hand and simplicity on the other.
Okay, amazing. It sounds very, very promising. So let me ask you about you yourself right now, because you do seem very knowledgeable on your product, but in general as well for the DeFi space. So how did you get into crypto, if you don't mind me asking? Where did the journey start?
I don't mind.
And I'm
at
asking
all.
this because, you know, we have done quite a few shows by now, and you are actually the first female guest that I've had. I think crypto is a very, you know, male-dominated niche, so I'm very, very excited to see a female figure as well.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for that. First of all, I would like to make the remark that I am not, and that's actually an important disclaimer, I'm not a technical person. I'm not an engineer myself. So if I say something that is stupid, I apologize for that. But, you know, non-engineer here. Sorry about that. But yeah, I mean, that's what happens when you get somebody with a degree in arts to run
wow.
your marketing. Yeah. But my journey in crypto actually started, I mean, I was working, before I joined the blockchain industry, I was working for the fintech and cloud storage industries. And when I was working in fintech, I obviously knew what was Bitcoin. I knew what was, back then I think it was just Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Dogecoin. These were the only cryptos that existed basically, or made any sense. Ethereum was not a thing yet. Smart contracts were not a thing yet. So we had a limited number of cryptocurrencies, and I had studied them from an economical perspective. So I knew how they functioned from an economical point of view. but I had zero idea how they worked on a technological level. And I'm going to be honest with you, back then I didn't even ask myself, like, how does it work? So I was familiar with that. And then I joined the team that creates Ambire Wallet, but that's kind of like part of our company history. Before we started working on Ambire and before we started working with blockchain, we worked on a different product that is still existing and still doing very well. But it's a video streaming platform. And that platform has a very sustainable growth that is organic. And at one point, we decided that we needed to monetize this traffic with ads. And we started looking into different ad platforms and different ad networks that were available to us. And we started testing them one by one, and they all sucked, honestly. They were very disappointing in terms of results and in terms of transparency, most importantly. So we realized that this is, we're victims of that black box that is the advertising space, advertising sales supply chain. You have input, you have output, but what happened in between, you have zero idea. And then you have an output that doesn't really match, like it's centralized, and you get results reported to you, but these results don't quite match your internal reporting. So there are many question marks. And at a certain point, we just realized, again, as I said, this is a recurring pattern with us. We just realized that this is not working for us. And if there isn't an ad network that can serve us well enough and that can check all the boxes on our list, then we are just going to create one. We had the resources, we had the knowledge. So we figured out we can just create our own. And that was back in 2016. So back then already Ethereum was a thing. And everybody was actually not everybody, but like a lot of people were talking about smart contracts and about blockchain development and using blockchain as a technology, not just for cryptocurrencies, but, for applications outside of crypto and digital assets. So we started looking into blockchain. We were like, that can actually work for us. Like, this is obviously it's not an ideal solution, but it can solve a lot of the problems that we face with the ad tech industry. So we started looking into that. And as an added bonus, ICOs, which, from today's perspective, when you say ICO, you kind of get a scammy vibe, like you start thinking, I don't know, scams or Ponzi schemes or whatever. But back then, ICOs were actually a very legitimate way of crowdfunding. And we decided to take advantage of that as well. And we did. So we crowdfunded the money that we needed to create this ad network of ours. And that's how we got into blockchain. I basically started from scratch. As I said, I'm a non-technical person. I sometimes struggle understanding complex technology, but I do have the privilege of working with a team, with a technical team that is so crypto savvy. Like, the people that I work with are amazing. And not only are they so knowledgeable, but they are very patient with me and with the non-technical people on the team. So when they have to explain something complex, sometimes they do it one time or two times, 5 times, 6 times, maybe, until we understand. But as a company, generally as a company, we do have this information security culture where nobody's afraid of asking questions, even if there are stupid questions, because we agree that there are stupid questions, obviously. But mostly, yeah, even when we suspect that our question is dumb, we ask it anyway, and we get an answer, and we get an explanation, and we get guidance from our teammates. So I think that I haven't worked for another blockchain project, so I can't really compare, to be honest. But had I started working for a different project with a different team, perhaps I wouldn't be where I am today. But because I've worked with the people that I work with, and that's another amazing thing, the core team of Ambire, which is, back then it was called ADEX Network, but the core team of ADEX Network is the same core team that we have today. So like, we don't have any employee churn or turnaround. So this is something amazing. I've had 6 years to work with these people and kind of like get on the same page with them and make sure that we all understand the technology that we are creating well enough to, whether it is for developing with this technology and building on this technology, or composing a little tweet that makes sense to people who know this technology. I think that it's incredibly important. And I think that this is a big issue for a lot of people in blockchain, especially for traders. They kind of focus on the economical side of things, and don't really do the work to understand the technology behind it, and to understand how, for example, how gas fees work, or the little things like that can actually have a very big impact on your day-to-day activities as a crypto trader. So yeah, I have been going, and I'm still going through that learning curve of blockchain, and trying to make sense of things around me. And I'm not gonna lie to you, there are many occasions when I need to Google stuff like fundamentals from computer science, or algorithms, or how does this work, or what is an elliptical curve, or whatever. But that's all part of the job, and I think I enjoy it quite a lot.
Yeah, I definitely agree and understand where you're coming from. I think there's not a single tech team in the crypto space that hasn't had to put up with, kind of like stupid questions from the non-tech people in the teams. And actually, that's one of the things that we're trying to eliminate with Forward. Like, we're trying to take out the technical part of the equation, because right now, for example, for Web2, you just want to do something. You go on a website, you click a couple things, and it's done. You don't have to know how the technology works. If I go to someone, do you know how the internet works? They're going to be like, no, I don't care. I just want to use it. So that is exactly what we're trying to do here, because there's so much to learn. And the technology is quite new and quite complex, and it keeps changing all the time, So we're trying to, of course, on one hand, educate the people that we want to work with. And, a lot of our partners, we are providing tech support for their integrations with our smart contracts and whatnot. But for the average user, we do want to make it everything so simple that they do not have to go and use our dear friend Google. They can just go and click a couple of buttons, see what they like, see what they don't like, understand, what they get. The gas fees, for example, is something that we're working with a lot. Who's going to pay the gas fees and how the model is going to work. So yeah, I definitely understand where you're coming from. And I would like to ask you about gas fees as well, because you have done something special over there with gas fees, haven't you?
Yes, we have. We have built this mythical creature called the Ambire relayer. And that's basically a piece of technology that allows us to run smart wallets and batch transactions and execute multiple transactions with a single signature, thus paying the gas just once instead of paying gas for each separate transaction. And this is actually something that we kind of started working on that with the ad network that we have with ADX, Ambire ADX, because every impression on the ad network is a micropayment on Ethereum. We came up with our own payment channel solution that we use. So basically every ad impression is a micropayment on Ethereum. And as you can imagine, an ad impression costs a fraction of a cent. So if we have to write everything on the blockchain and basically process every micropayment one by one, then this is just insane, because the gas fees, even when they were cents per transaction, that would still defy the purpose of doing what we're doing. And then we took this piece of technology and we kind of like continued working on it so that we can use it within Ambire wallet and help people optimize their gas cost, because better than anyone that right now Ethereum is a wild west when it comes to gas fees. It is insane. One day you pay $5 for a transaction, the next day you pay $95 for the same transaction. You get network congestions, you get NFT drops that contribute to those gas fees. And I think that gas cost optimization is something that we need to work on, and we need to work on it hard, because it is a big issue. And that's, for example, what drives a lot of people from one network to another. Like we see a huge waves of people switching from Ethereum to initially to Binance Smart Chain, now to Polygon, more than Binance Smart Chain, or yeah, they renamed it, but I can't recall the new name. BS whatever C. No, it's not BSC anymore, but like they came up with a new name. Anyway, that's not important. But yeah, that's a big issue, and we see, like, for example, Polygon right now offers much more reasonable fees, but the reason they do that is because they don't have the volumes that we see on Ethereum. So basically, once Polygon reaches the same level of saturation, fees there are gonna become quite high as well, and people are gonna start looking for the next best thing, the next EVM chain that will offer them the same experience with lower fees. And that's a rat race. Like, nobody wins with that. So I think that we should really work on gas fees optimizations, and this is something that we're doing at Ambire. For example, a couple of weeks ago, one of our teammates wanted to enable 18 syrup pools, like staking pools, on PancakeSwap, and I believe each enabling each pool would have cost about $1 in fees. And he started doing it, and then he was like, wait, that makes no sense. I'm just gonna batch the transactions in Ambire. And he did it. So he basically combined 18 transactions into one single authorization, into one single transaction. And he paid, I believe, $3 or $2 for the whole thing, which was a significant saving in terms of money, and also in terms of time. Like, instead of actually going and signing for each and every staking pool, you just put everything together in one single transaction in Ambire, go sign, and that's it. You're done. You're ready to go, all staked. So I think that this is one of the very important things that we bring to the table in terms of features, that transaction batching and that gas fee automation that we offer, being a smart wallet. And I think that more and more people are going to be looking for that, especially when it comes to more experienced crypto users.
Yeah, it sounds really amazing. And so my question for this is, okay, so blockchain basically started from DeFi. That's the first use case that we saw, and it's the most worked on use case that we've seen. So do you think that DeFi right now is like a satisfactory stage, or are there any bottlenecks like you already mentioned, gas fees, or do you see anything else that we need to remove in order to just to make this blow up and make it accessible for every single user, like we did with credit cards? Let's say, like a few decades ago, no one used credit cards, no one trusted credit cards. They were tricky, they had no trust, they were complex. But now I personally think that in my circle there are like 2 people that use cash, and that's all. So what do you think? What is the future, and what is the way that we can take DeFi even more forward?
Well, I actually laugh because I like to use the credit card example myself. Like, I've used it so many times, and when it comes to that, I think that the most important thing here is that people are creatures of habit. We are, as a species, we are afraid of change. We're afraid of things that are new, untested, potentially harmful for us, or I don't know, just unknown. So I think that one of the things that will help us, it's not even going to help us, like one of the requirements to have mainstream DeFi adoption is time. People need to get used to that. People need to get used to hearing about it and seeing it everywhere. and hearing of people that they know that are using DeFi and crypto to have this kind of like a viral effect. But DeFi has areas of improvement, in my opinion. I mentioned that earlier. The learning curve is rather steep. It is.
Mhm.
And again, it comes down to the same example. Like, for example, I don't know how a bank loan works. Honestly, I have zero idea how a bank loan works. I just know that the bank has given me this amount of money and I have a payment plan, and every month I need to pay them this amount of money. But like, I don't really know the complexity of it. I don't understand what part of my money goes towards the base sum and like the lump sum, and what part of the money is interest, and how does the interest reduce with time, and why does it reduce? Like, no, I don't know that, and most people don't know that. So but they still use bank loans. Like, everybody would just go and get a mortgage, I guess, or I don't know,
Mhm.
a consumer loan, especially now with the world economy in shambles and interest rates so low. It just, like, you have to be stupid not to take a loan, I suppose. But yeah, I think that we just need a little bit more time to get there. With DeFi as well, and also we need a little bit of UX improvements. We need to just make it easy. Don't make me go to like 3 different lending websites to like find out what's the best interest rate that I can get, or like, don't send me to one lending platform for a portion of my crypto assets and to another one for another portion that is supported on the other platform. We just need to make it simple. Like, again, shamelessly, I'm going to give an example with Ambire Wallet, but we have integrated right now on Ethereum. We have integrated Aave and Earn Finance. On Polygon, we have Aave and Transact. Sorry, not Transact, Tesseract. Transact is an on-ramp solution that we use. But basically, there's also staking for our native token, the wallet token. So basically, you just go to Ambire Wallet and you say, I'm just gonna lock up this amount of money into this protocol, and that's it. You're done. You click, you sign. That's it. Like, literally a couple of clicks, and then if I want to like take the money back, again, a couple of clicks, and I'm done. So we just need to remove the complexity on the surface level. Obviously, DeFi is a very complex thing, and it needs to be complex in order to function the way it functions. Because, at the end of the day, we're in the business of magic internet money, and people have a very hard time understanding how does it work. Like, why does it have value when it's not traditional money? When in reality, when you think about fiat money, you probably know as well that it only has value because we as people decided to assign it value. There's no other reason. Like, there's no gold reserves anymore. There's no, anything. There's nothing backing it up. So it's the same with crypto, but people don't quite comprehend it because, again, it's too new. It's too new. And yeah, I mean, we just need to make it easy for people to access DeFi in various protocols in the same place, with the same wallet, and make it understandable, and make sure that we implement fail safes for people who don't quite understand the implications of collateralization of crypto, and how much, because again, like, when you take a bank loan against the value of your property, for example, when you get a mortgage against the value of the property, the bank kind of bets on this value being somewhat stable within a certain period of time. And then when it comes to crypto, that's not the case. You have high volatility there. You have, Bitcoin costs $35,000 today, and then 55,000 the next day, and then 20,000 the next day. So you have to, you have this. And again, I think that so far most DeFi protocols focus on educating people how this works, rather than just implementing fail safes and, solving that through technology and through user interface, if you wish.
Mhm. Very true. Very interesting. Very interesting. Okay, so another question about DeFi. Do you think that it's something that is going to be a big asset towards some social justice in terms of helping out the developing countries and population that traditionally never had and never has been, and it's very difficult to be part of the financial, worldwide
Yeah,
system? Do you think that,
absolutely. I
because
mean,
blockchain, go ahead, go ahead.
yeah, sorry. I was going to say, like, I know I have friends in Latin America for whom crypto is a safe haven because inflation there is, and again, I just said that fiat currency doesn't have such big volatility, and I'm going to give this opposite example. But yeah, fiat in Latin America, for example, Venezuela or Argentina, is so volatile that crypto is a safe haven. I know it sounds a little bit paradoxical, a little bit absurd and counterintuitive, but that's the case. We also have a lot of communities in Africa, for example, that are underbanked and for whom crypto is an actual solution, and is an actual way to gain financial stability. Obviously, the most recent example that we saw was Ukraine and the donations that are pouring into the Ukraine in crypto. I believe the last time I checked, I mean, I try not to check too many news outlets for when it comes to the Ukraine because it's depressing. But last I checked, I think there were about $100 million. I think. I'm not sure. I have to check the exact number. But yeah, like there are bajillions of dollars, literally bajillions of dollars uh, going into the Ukraine in crypto. And at the same time, the traditional banking system just goes, that's a high risk area for us. So maybe not serve it, like, not accept Ukrainian users to open bank accounts and whatever. And that's a critical moment of these people's lives. Like these people are literally, a great deal of them are literally running for their lives, trying to protect their families and to flee the country in search of basic security, which should be a human right, but it's not. And in situations like that, we can see the socio-economical impact of crypto, and we see a whole new side of crypto that has always been there. We just never focused on it. But we can see how it helps people, I don't know, strive for a better life, or for at least a more peaceful life, or at least for a life that gives you enough ammunition, literally ammunition, to fight an oppressor, as is the case with the Ukraine. So I definitely see that side of crypto, and I've seen it for a while, and I've always been very excited that crypto can be used for social good. And at the end of the day, when you think about it, there's no difference when it comes to to causes like that. It makes no difference if you're contributing with crypto or fiat. But I think that the traditional financial system, the existing banking system of the world, it has gotten so greedy and so elitist that it just makes it hard for someone trying to get their life together to to get a meaningful start when it comes to money. And that's the other thing, and that's probably the reason why at a point like this we stomach fees like the fees that we see on Ethereum, because that's the only way we can have a life without banking and without traditional banks. And if that's the price that we have to pay, we just pay it and we stomach it. But when you oh, sorry, I just lost my train of thought there. But yeah, sorry, ownership and custody. If your bank decides to shut down your account and seize your money, there's very little you can do. If your bank decides that, say, for example, that you are a Russian oligarch and the bank says, you know what, we're just going to we're just going to keep this money here with us safely until we figure out what we're going to do with it. And like, how did you get this money? And I know that's probably a bad example because, you know, poor Russian oligarchs, right? Um, but again, a system where you actually own your money and you have access to your money at any given point, without a third party telling you what to do with your money that you have earned one way or another by selling drugs or working honestly. I don't know. Doesn't matter. In this, I mean, in this example, we're all equal. I think, because
Yeah, I
sorry.
agree. I agree. I think, you know, decentralization is exactly what DeFi, why DeFi is going to endure and is going to, you know, keep improving and keep gaining more followers. Because right now, I think we have reached the limit of not being in control of, you know, your life in general, and especially your own money and how you use it, when you use it, when you have access to it, and how much of it you're willing to give away to, you know, third-party institutions, etc. So I think decentralization is a key aspect of the blockchain, the Web3 technology in general. And that leads me to the next question of DAOs. I would like to hear your thoughts on this. And I think you know, Ambire is very close to the DAO concept, isn't it?
Yes, we are actually, we have a DAO planned that's going to come later on this year, the wallet DAO. And that's why we launched the wallet token. This is the governance token of Ambire Wallet. So we are big fans of DAOs and big fans of this type of democracy, I'm going to call it, because, you know, what we're used to, and again, with a little asterisk here, because what we're used to calling democracy nowadays is so very far from actual true democracy, especially when it comes to like developed economies like, I don't know, the US, or, you know, political structures like the European Union. I think that the DAO is possibly the closest thing that we can have today in terms of the Platonian Greek democracy that, you know, that it all originated from and that we should be striving for. So yeah, I think that, you know, and you mentioned, you know, we talked about that, you know, regaining that sense of ownership, and I call that freedom, basically, because it is a freedom to do whatever you want to do with your own assets, and to be able to express your voice. So this is where DAOs come in, and I think that this is where DAOs make a very important impact. And the other thing is that a lot of projects like Ambire are decentralized and open source. So it is very, a DAO is not just a very efficient way to govern a certain product, a certain ecosystem. It is also a wonderful way to make sure in the same direction, and we're all striving for the same goal, for the same end goal. So I think that we're going to see more and more DAOs. And again, I'm going to give the example with the conflict in Ukraine. We saw Pussy Riot, the I don't even know what to call them, but like everybody has heard
Activist
of
group,
Pussy Riot. I don't need
activist
to
art
define them.
group, I
The
guess.
activist group, I guess, yeah. But they formed the DAO. So, you know, again, you have, this is kind of like to me, that's a nearly perfect form of giving people voice, giving people the right to say, hey, I'm here and I want this, and I want it because of that. So we are, again, that's, you know, that's part of the same big picture of regaining that sense of privacy, that sense of ownership and of custody, not just of money, but as you said yourself, and I couldn't have put it better, of our own lives. kind of like, because the past few years have been trying for everybody. They have been, especially with the COVID fiasco, or this whole mess that I don't know if we created or just happened somehow. I don't want to go into conspiracy theories, but these past few years have been very trying for us, but they have also helped us kind of shift and rearrange our priorities. And for a lot of people, that has been a very eye-opening moment when it comes to user privacy, when it comes to independence within a society. So I think that this is where we're going to see the biggest impact of DAOs.
Yeah, totally agree. I agree with you. And I think, for all the misery and, psychological traumas that Corona, besides the physical traumas and loss, of course, Corona has given us, it was also a bit of a catalyst for the blockchain space and the general technology of being more present online rather than in real life. And I think that's a very interesting way of looking at something bad that also had something good in it as well. And what do you think about that? What do you think that we would be here with, because a lot of online markets, blockchain markets did boom during the coronavirus. Do you think that is something that would have happened otherwise?
I think it would have happened with or without COVID, to be honest. And the reason I think that is because most of the people who are the most active today, and the people behind the most notable and the most important and prominent protocols that we have and we use today, they were in the space before COVID, and they were just as excited before COVID, and they were living online as much as they are now, I think. But what COVID did, and you made a very good observation here, is that COVID kind of brought a lot more people from the offline world into the online. We were forced to have our, I don't know, family dinners on Zoom, and had to have celebrations, and to have work meetings, and to have school and anything that you can imagine online. So that brought a lot of more people to the online space, and nudged a lot more people, especially the older generation, to get acquainted with different digital tools. So I think that what COVID did is basically it raised the level of digital skill of the entire world, or most of the world anyway. And that definitely contributed. Like, it's kind of like a chain. I wouldn't say it's a butterfly effect, because it's not. Like, it's a lot more obvious, the consequential line here. But I think that this contributed, and this brought a lot more people. And also, I think kids, I know it sounds stupid, but a lot of kids that would hang out outside or at school, or be in detention, or play video games, kind of like focused on DeFi. And you can see this whole new generation of teenagers who are tech savvy enough to code, and to come up with smart ideas that can be utilized via blockchain. So yeah, I think that online school probably helped with that.
Yeah, definitely. I think especially the young generation doesn't really need a lot of nudging to get in front of a screen and start searching stuff, and getting in touch with everything that older generations are really struggling with. And I think I'm really looking forward to having a generation where all the things that we're creating right now are just like by default. It's something that they don't even have to train themselves on. It's something that they grow up with, and they consider a given. And I think that's going to be a very nice society to live in, if we manage to get everything under control. And that brings me to the next question of regulation. Are you pro or against?
Ooh, A little bit of both. A little bit of both.
Okay.
I do enjoy my freedom. I am a libertarian wannabe in my soul, but I also realize that regulation, again, we talked about that earlier. People are creatures of habit, and they know they want to know that they have a certain level of security. And I think that regulation for a lot of people translates directly into security. So the fact that there is, we have this recurring joke, devs do something, how whenever people, I don't know, burn tokens by mistake or send them to something stupid online with their crypto and lost it, they always come to the, I don't know, to the project or the exchange or wallet Telegram, and they go, devs do something. But there's no devs that can do something, because that's not how it works. It's decentralized. And I think that the notion of having a certain level of regulation will kind of bring people that peace of mind that if something goes wrong, you can reach out to a regulator, and yeah, they will not be able to do anything for you probably, but you'll have somebody to complain to, which is weirdly comforting in a lot of situations. And I think that this will, again, I am not an advocate of regulation in general, but I am willing to accept it if that will bring us the adoption that we want to see in the space. The one thing that I am very, very concerned about is that regulation could be a very good thing if it's done right. But I'm not sure that most governments are equipped with the skill and the technical knowledge and the know-how to do it right. I can speak, for example, for the Bulgarian government, because that's my government, that this is where I pour my hard-earned money into, paying taxes. I don't think the Bulgarian government has the expertise to do regulation right, to be honest. They may have it. I can see that there are some people in our government who are already saying smart things when it comes to blockchain and crypto, but to most of them, that's a tabula rasa. That's like terra incognita. They have no idea how to approach things, because again, most of them focus on the economical part of things and don't really have the technical expertise to understand how things work under the hood. And I think that this will be the biggest challenge for regulators. This is their hill and their battle to fight. I think that people developing in the blockchain space, like us, should be available to help out, because I'm going to be completely honest with you. At this point, I think that regulation is inevitable. It will happen sooner or later. At a certain point, it will happen in one form or another. So I think that people building in the space should be accessible to help out and make sure that if we have regulation, we have the right regulation, and we have regulation that actually makes sense and relates to the technology that we're working with.
That's a very valid point. And what I'm wondering is, because regulation, of course, has a legal standpoint and the legal framework to make everything more, more elusive, more compliant, and less risky, at least, at first glance. But I think regulation might also work as a bridge between, some traditional spaces and the new, new and improved versions that we have. For example, we have DeFi and we have traditional finance, and I really do think that there's a clash there, which is very difficult to bridge. We need more projects and more frameworks that are going to work into a combination of those two, because you did mention that we are people of, people are creatures of habits, and that's very true. So I think it's very difficult to jump from something else to something completely different. I think we need a transition. We need a stepping stone between those two. What are your thoughts on this?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And here I would like to give the example of Gibraltar, this tiny little country at the end of Europe. Gibraltar was one of the first countries to introduce some form of regulation. And when I say that, I mean that they are one of the few countries that issue a digital ledger technology DLT license to companies. And it's not an easy process to get such a license. It takes quite some time and quite some financial investment to get a DOT license. But Gibraltar, the government of Gibraltar basically said, we're going to be issuing this type of licenses, and this way they signal to companies developing in the space that Gibraltar is open to them, and that was a wonderful way for Gibraltar to attract new business and to create a whole new industry there, and established in this small country, and that worked out for them especially well in the dawn of Brexit, when they started losing other traditional businesses left, right, and center. And companies started fleeing to Malta and Isle of Man, or any other jurisdiction that wouldn't be affected. Sorry, Isle of Man would be affected. That was a bad example, but Malta, for example. And then this kind of opened up space for Gibraltar to bring in the blockchain companies. And at this stage, it's not an intrusive legislation, but again, a bridge. It doesn't say you're not allowed to operate in Gibraltar if you don't have the license, but if you do want to get the license, you can get it here. And this license will vouch for you as a company, and it will tell the world that your contracts have been audited, your code has been audited, your company has been audited, and it is a legit company that has the capacity to produce and to deliver blockchain-based products. So I think that this is a very good example of bridging traditional and non-traditional industries. And again, here, the end result is good. The underlying reasoning is perhaps greed, or self-preservation on a country level. We're losing all this business, so we need to figure out a way to bring in new business. I don't know if that was the reasoning of the Gibraltarian government. I don't have any insider information on that, but it makes sense to me. And I think that this is something that more countries will try to follow as an example, and more countries. And I think that this will be the first step, basically, of regulation in the crypto space. I think that most companies will come and start offering a certain level of licensing, and then from there on, I think we're going to move on to basically to taxation and to waste, because at the end of the day, there has never been so much money going around like today. And I think that most countries, especially today, when the world's economy is, excuse my French, but fucked up, entirely fucked up, most countries are trying to find more tax revenue streams. So I think that many countries and many jurisdictions will try to figure out how to tax crypto in a more efficient way. And in order to tax crypto in a more efficient way, they will need to figure out how to track it and how to make sure that, yes, this transaction was initiated by that person who is a tax resident of that country, etc., etc. So I think that this will, on the one hand, we kind of, there's a lot of potential for failure here. There are a lot of obstacles that need to be overcome, but there's also a lot of potential for growth and for development and for coming up with better economical systems for the world.
Interesting. Yes, I think the future is going to, it seems very promising, and I guess it's up to all of us behind the scenes, the builders of this ecosystem, the new technology, the new reality, to bring the best to the table and bring something new that is going to actually help and change the way that we live, not just our money and how we use our money. Because I really do think that blockchain has unlimited potential. We have not even seen the tip of the iceberg. It's just, just a glimpse of it. And I think the more people and brilliant minds come to this space and see the potential and work with everything that has, and improve the shortcomings, some amazing things are going to happen, and hopefully lives
I
will change.
I wholeheartedly agree with you. And, I will never get tired of saying that crypto is a technology, blockchain is a technology with unlimited potential. And as you said, the more bright and enthusiastic people that we manage to bring to the space, the better for everyone. And I think that we're getting a step closer to one brighter future, to a future where the internet is cleaner and belongs back to the people. So I'm very curious to see what the upcoming years have in store for us.
I would like to thank you very, very much for this wonderful conversation. I personally, learned a lot, and I did enjoy very, very much chatting with you. Instead of closing statements, I would really just like to ask you one thing. If you had to describe blockchain with one word, just one word, which word would you choose?
The freedom, definitely freedom.
Freedom. Okay.
That's what it is to me. It's it's a lot more than that, obviously. It's a very complex topic, but to me, the most important thing that I see as a personal benefit is freedom. Freedom to create, freedom to explore, freedom to own my own data and to own my own money. So yeah, it all translates. At the end of the day, it all boils down to being free and being independent enough as a person, again, within a society, to have, I don't know, your own rules, so to say.
Okay, amazing. Thank you so much, Vanina. It was a true pleasure chatting with you.
Thank you for having me. The pleasure was all mine. And all the best.
Thank you.